their shares 49% to Aga Khan. That was the biggest bank. Even they had trouble here.
Yes.
And with all these troubles, I survived. I survived all these banks.
How did you do that, though?
Only because I was in properties. Because whenever I had problems in my business, I could fall back onto my property. You see, and therefore, if you have properties, in your portfolio, and you're doing your trading, and in the trading goes bad. Trading is more riskier than I think in properties at the moment. Trading is more risky. You could lose a lot of money. People could go bust on you, and you could lose a lot of money. Your customers could go bust on you. But because of my property base, I could always come back. I had problems with banks.
It's like insurance.
Yes.
Yes, that's great. And to those watching, it's great to know that if you are involved in business, it's a good area to get into. Get into property and it will sustain you. And speaking of which, you've given us some top tips on getting started in the world of property. Number 1, believe in the objective you want to achieve. Number 2, financial requirement is always an important element. If you can, borrow from family or friends and always budget carefully. Number 3, be persistent and don't give up halfway. Number 4, fruition of all your hard work will come at the end, so perseverance is a must. Right, number 1, believe in your objective, what you want to achieve.
Yes.
Do you mean 100%? Do you mean that even if you're slightly unsure, slightly hesitant, walk away?
Yes. So you must believe in what you're going to do, what you want to achieve, and then give your 100% to it. If you don't believe in what you're going to do and what you're going to achieve, then you'll be half-hearted, and then you will not be able to reach your destination, your goal, what you want to achieve. So you must, in your mind, this is what you want, and you go for it regardless of what happens on the way, and then you will achieve it.
Financial requirement is always an important element. If you can, borrow from family or friends and always budget carefully. If you borrow from family or friends, isn't the risk that you will lose these friends?
Well, of course, if you believe in yourself and if you work hard at it, and of course, there are slight chances of losing it, but I think with my cases, it has been, I've been very successful in borrowing money from my parents and multiplying it afterwards. So I think chances are there, but borrowing from friends and relatives, at least you don't have to pay the interest, you see. Otherwise, if you borrow
You don't know my family. It's far more expensive than borrowing from a bank. Much more expensive. And I'll tell you what, see, if you don't pay them back, it's not good. It's not good. But in terms of financing anything, is it not better to try not to borrow? I mean, you're a man who's got a sound financial backing.
Sure. But if you are starting from scratch, if you haven't got anything at all, so you got to start somewhere. And you see, banks and institutions will not lend you money unless you've got money. If you have money, they'll only lend you money because they want to make sure that the money they lend you, they can get the money back with the interest. So therefore, if you don't have money, they will not want to know you. So I think where to start will be your family and friends. And once you have money, and then you can go to a bank, pay your relatives, and the banks will, because if you are successful, it's always hard to be successful on the first one. You see, first business or first property is the hardest one. Because there, you have to be a little bit lucky, you have to be very more persistent and more, you have to work more harder at it to achieve it. But once you have that bit of success, and then if you are a guy who is relentless in his efforts and who doesn't give up easily, and then you can build on that success, you see. But the first success is very important because a lot of people, I know a lot of people are very clever, very, intelligent, and but the first time they do something and they don't make it, that's when they break up, you see. So I would say even to those people who are not successful first time, try again. Keep trying.
Be persistent. That was tip number 3.
Yes.
Do you know, you seem too nice a man to be a ruthless businessman. Number 4, fruition of all your hard work will come at the end. So, and be aware of that you won't be getting rewards throughout.
No, you have got to have the patience to wait and get the reward. So you must have the energy and the perseverance to carry forward to reach there.
Have you ever been ruthless?
Oh, you have to be. I'm very good with my commitments. If I commit to you, I will do it, right? And of course, I have got people working, and I am very strict with people there. If a job is assigned to someone, they must finish it. They must do it. That's very important.
As I say, you still strike me as being much too nice a man, Muquim. We'll talk more to Muquim Ahmed after this short commercial break. Don't go away. guest today is Muquim Ahmed. This is a man who came to the UK from Bangladesh in 1974 to study engineering, but went on to build up a £25 million property portfolio. I'm not surprised you're smiling. And that's not even your main business. You told us in part one that the property end is just a hobby.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Tell us about your core business then. What it is that you see as your business, as your day-to-day work.
Right, like I was telling you, John, that I had some problems in my business. In 1994, I lost my whole warehouse, was burned down.
Oh, gosh.
And I didn't get my insurance claim either. Like I was telling you, that because of my property base, I could come back again into business very quickly. Because insurance company went bust. Of course, before that, about 5-6 years before that, BCCI went bust. I lost money with BCCI, Bank of Trade and Commerce, if you remember.
Yes, I do.
I was on the program on Eddie George, same program as Eddie George, the governor of
the Bank of England. I remember. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened was, the electrical wholesaling business went. Then I went into restaurant business in 1997, I should say.
Why that though? That's precarious, isn't it?
I went into restaurant business because my community, Bangladeshi people in United Kingdom, are mostly 99.9% of them are into restaurant business. So in the beginning, I said I'm not going to go into the business because
everybody else does it.
Everybody else does it. Yes. So I went into electrical wholesaling, and then in the electrical wholesaling, I think I was the biggest among the Muslims in that time. Yes. In that business, you know, and of course there are big guys like Binatone, Alan Sugar, all these people, but they all started small as well in business. And of course they have massive growth. We all started, you know.
You have to start somewhere.
They are entrepreneurs. They started.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then, in 1997, I started this restaurant business, in where my cinema was, the Naz cinema was. So that's why I call my restaurant Naz Cafe Naz, from Naz Cinema. And I also got a big projector in there because to keep the legacy of the cinema. So I am the one who started putting up screens in the restaurants in those days, and then a lot of my people followed afterwards. Yeah, but I was fortunate. Like sometimes I say, I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky that this first restaurant I did in Brick Lane, it was a new fad in Brick Lane because I did it in Western style, but still kept the Indian bit in it as well. Yes,
so there was enough of Indian attraction there as well.
There,
no,
yes.
That's good.
And I became very successful with this Cafe Naz. In fact, what happened, it was, you know, in a way it was fortunate, in a way it was not fortunate. If you remember the nail bomber, it happened right in front of Cafe Naz.
Oh gosh.
Yes, so I escaped. In fact, my wife and me escaped the blast only by seconds, really. She came across because I've got several shops in Brick Lane. So I went to one of the shops from the restaurant, and there was a skip there by the car where the bomb was. The bomb exploded. I crossed the street. I just passed the car, and the car went into flame. Yes, it up in the sky. It went, you know, at least 30-40 feet high up.
And that was 1999, was it?
I think 1999 probably. I've forgotten the year. Yes, David Copperfield had the nail bombs. Yes. You know, it was all over England. You know, we had.
I remember.
Yeah,
as I say, I think it was.
But then that nail bombing, my restaurant was partly destroyed. Right, I did it up very quickly. We did it up. A lot of other places were shattered as well.
Yes.
Around me, and because of this nail bombing, Cafe Naz became known, and a lot of people came to know about it. We had 17 laws from the House of Laws coming and visiting Cafe Naz to comfort the community, not to be worried about it and to stand together and all that. So that misfortune was turned into a fortune for me, right? Because Cafe Naz became known. And then after that, there was ITV Dinner Date who went into Brick Lane, and they went into Cafe Naz because of David Copperfield bombing and all that. And we were on the TV for about 15 minutes. The restaurant was on TV. From that very night, it was a Sunday evening, it was called Dinner Date. From that evening, Cafe Naz went shh, because of the TV
TV exposure that you got. And how many Cafe Nazes now exist?
I had 8 Cafe Naz. I got 6 now. 2 I've given up because the sites were not good. if you don't have the right location.
Absolutely, that's what I was intimating when we started about the restaurant. The restaurant business is so precarious because location is everything, isn't it?
Location is everything, yes. So I got 6 now, and we're doing very good. And from the success of the restaurants, now I've gone into a ready meal factory. I've bought a 115 years old bakery in Martin, 14,000 square feet. It's quite a substantial size. Yes.
But why, Muquim? A, you don't need it. You don't need to go there. Yeah. And B, from what you've told us, you didn't have any experience in that area of ready meals, of food production at all.
Yeah. But John, basically I'm a production engineer. I came to study production engineering here. So because, you see, in sometimes I say that what you want to be in life, you don't be what you want, but you become something else. I wanted to be an engineer when I was a kid, and I came to study engineering here as well. Then I got into business and into properties and all that. And here, of course, the factory is something which I've studied and which I should be good at.
True. Yes.
Yeah, good at really. So finally, I've got this factory now, and food business is the sky is the limit on food business, because people eat every day, and you need to produce every day, and then it's gone, consumed. If you buy a watch, you buy a suit, you wear it for a couple of years, but food, you consume it, it's gone. So I think if I am able to focus it properly, I think one could do very well in food business as well, beside the properties. Yes.
I think you're right, and what you're looking at there are the two basic needs of humanity.
Yes, yes.
The feeding of people and the sheltering of people.
Sheltering the people, yes.
So you have it covered in every area.
Yes.
How much is the business in total now worth, do you think, Muquim?
I can't say, John, I'm sorry.
You mean you don't know, or you don't want to say?
No, it's not. I wouldn't put a figure to it, no way.
Okay, but it's a lot of money.
Well,
you were a millionaire when you were 26.
Yes, well.
And you've more than that now.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did it all go wrong? No, I'm only joking. Let's have a look at some more tips for the rest of us to follow your lead. Some tips on how to maintain success in the world of property. Number 1, if you want to keep on achieving those goals, stay focused. Number 2, stay diligent. There are lows as well as highs in property, and you need to be ready for them. Number 3, be relentless in your effort. Muquim didn't get to where he is today by investing anything less than 100%, CJ. And number 4, the most important tip of all for maintaining success is, I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm going to let Muquim do that in just a minute. Let's discuss the others first. If you want to keep on achieving those goals, stay focused. Yes. Now, I think we've mentioned that it is easy to be distracted, and as you've said, things go wrong.
Yes, yes.
So how difficult is it to maintain that focus?
Yes, because a lot of the times things will not go your way, and so you mustn't be frustrated. You will be, naturally you could be, but you try not to be frustrated, and keep your focus. It's important to focus where you're going, what you're doing, and you must be informed of your surroundings, what's going on around you, and you also the other thing is you must have good people to work for you. Because you can't do everything yourself, and so you have to rely on other people, and you must have good people, and then you look after those people so that they can look after you, and you see that they do the right things, and everything is happening to your want. That is very important.
Would you say, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot by asking you this, would you say that that is the most fundamental attribute that you have, maintaining of that focus, that is what has made you who you are? Yes,
true. That is very true. To manage people, and it's also important to communication is very important as well, because you have to communicate with your suppliers, with your day-to-day life with other people, and if you are a good communicator with your staff, and then you will be able to achieve more, because you will let people know what you want.
Absolutely.
And then they help you to achieve that, you see.
And so hopefully then you'll empathise, or they'll empathise, and you'll be hopefully focused on the same goals.
Yes.
Number 2, stay diligent. I like this. There are lows as well as highs in property, and you need to be ready for them. Again, you kind of have already alluded to that things can go wrong.
Yes.
But how do you prepare for those down times?
Right. Like, for instance, I can give you that the property which I've got a conditional exchange. You see, I should sell that property because the property has come to its maximum, right?
But how do you know that, Muquim?
I know it's an instinct, I suppose, and I know that because this can only achieve so much growth for that period of time. And then if you take that growth, from this transaction and put their growth into another something even bigger than what you have had this project for.
Yes.
And then because you are moving from one bigger project to another bigger project, so your exposure is bigger, of course, but then your gain is bigger as well. Yeah. So and like somebody said to me, my brother said to me, when someone buys a house, right, someone should try to buy the biggest house they can afford, because the bigger the house you buy when you're buying your first house, the bigger the gain will be.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the bigger the risk as well.
The bigger the risk as well, because you have to be a gambler in property. You see, you may not be a gambler in gambling machines and gambling clubs, but or in a lottery. But in property, if you want to achieve, then you have to be a gambler. But the risk has to be calculated, of course.
Okay. I notice you're smiling. That's because your gambles have all been successful. Invest. Be relentless in your effort. Invest 100%.
Your time, your effort has to be there. You see, you must be committed to it. And no matter what time it takes, what effort it takes, you must put it, and you must get there.
But what do you sacrifice in doing that? Do you sacrifice family life? Do you sacrifice social life?
If you'll notice, people who are very successful, because you cannot achieve something without sacrificing something. So you have to sacrifice time. And then sometimes entrepreneurs, I suppose, what happens, because they are so involved with their work, they love their work so much, they sometimes forget to love their family or give the time to the family. So family life really suffers for people who are high achievers, I suppose.
And the final one, and as I said, I'm going to ask you to say this, I think it's fairly self-explanatory.
Yes.
The most important tip of all for maintaining success, they're sitting here. All the people watching are sitting, hanging on your every word. Muquim, what is the most important tip for maintaining success?
You've got to love your work, enjoy it, and find a rhythm in it.
Brilliant. Muquim, it's been lovely to speak to you. Thank you for sharing your life with us and for the tips as well.
Thank you.
That's just about all we've got time for today on Property Kings. Thanks to our special guest, Muquim Ahmed. If you want to find out more about Property Kings or indeed anything else we've featured in this programme, do call our special free phone number in the UK. That number is 0800 310 1444. And for our Irish viewers, the number is 1800 63 50 31. Or you can visit the website, overseaspropertytv.com. Join us next time, and who knows, you could become inspired to become a property king yourself. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
If you're interested in buying an overseas property, why not call now for more information and to receive a free international property pack? Dial 0800 310 1444 from the UK or 1800 63 5031 from Ireland.